The loudest person in the room is often the weakest. True strength has no need to boast, no need to raise its voice to prove its worth. Real power moves quietly because it doesn't depend on the world's approval or applause. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing, it means doing everything without noise, without the need to be seen or praised. What truly matters is not whether others notice, but whether you yourself know the strength you carry inside. While most people react to life, the one who masters himself simply observes. True power doesn't lie in hurried action. It lies in control, in the ability to choose when to act, when to wait, and when to let go. This is the first truth on the path to inner mastery, and yet it is the hardest for most to understand. That's because from the time we were young, we've been taught that every emotion we feel defines who we are. We say, I am angry, I am sad, I am frustrated. But these emotions are not who we are. They are simply passing states, like clouds moving across a clear, unchanging sky. Imagine for a moment that your true self is that vast blue sky, steady and calm, while your emotions are just the clouds drifting through. You are not the storm. You are the space in which the storm appears and disappears. When someone disrespects you, challenges your pride, or tries to provoke you, the natural reaction is to feel that fire rising in your chest, your heartbeat speeding up, your breath shortening, your fists clenching. And before you realize it, you've been swept up in the storm. But in that very moment, you forget the one thing that could give you power. You forget that you have a choice. Inside you is always the observer, the part of you that sees yourself becoming angry, that hears the voice shouting in your mind but doesn't shout with it, that watches the storm but does not become the storm. This observer, this awareness, is your true self. At the Shaolin Temple, the monks don't train to fight others. They train to conquer themselves. Every strike, every breath, every moment of stillness is a way to discipline the mind, to observe rather than react, to see anger rising and let it drift away like a leaf floating down a stream. They understand that to master life, they must first master themselves. And to master the self, they must stop identifying with fleeting emotions and instead live as the awareness that sees all without becoming entangled. When someone tries to insult you or wound your pride, remember, their words are just energy. What gives that energy power is your attachment to it. You believe their opinion matters. You believe your identity needs to defend itself. But the observer defends nothing. The observer knows that silence is not defeat, it is clarity. Ask yourself, who suffers when you become angry? Who truly hurts when you lose control? It isn't the person who triggered you, it is you. You are the one who carries the fire inside, burning yourself from within, losing your peace, your clarity, your center. When you live as the observer, you are no longer dragged along by external forces. You no longer dance to the rhythm of someone else's chaos. You choose your own rhythm, your own path. And that path is walked with calm, not rage, with understanding, not reactivity. Let go of the need to react to everything. Let go of the need to always be right. Let go of the idea that your emotions define the truth. They are guests, not permanent residents. Treat them with respect, but don't give them the keys to your home. It takes great strength to sit with your anger and not act on it. It takes discipline to feel disrespected and still choose silence over argument. It takes true power to feel the storm rise and remain as steady as a mountain. This is not suppression. This is not weakness. This is mastery. It is knowing that you are the awareness behind the emotion, not the emotion itself. You are the sky, not the cloud. And the more you train your mind to observe rather than react, the more you'll see that nothing truly disturbs you anymore. Because nothing can enter your inner world unless you open the door to it. When you live from this awareness, you move differently. You speak with less urgency and more purpose. You listen without needing to respond. You carry peace, not as a concept, but as a way of being. That is why the observer is not shaken by chaos, because he does not fight it. He watches, he learns, and he lets it pass. Your power doesn't lie in what you feel, but in what you choose to do with what you feel. Every time you observe and don't react, you grow stronger. You become more rooted, and no one can shake someone who stands firmly in awareness. The outside world is not what makes you uneasy. What truly creates unease is your attachment, the clinging that ties your peace to things you can't control. People spend their entire lives trying to change what happens around them. They try to fix other people, adjust circumstances, avoid discomfort, and chase after security. But the more they try, the more they realize that the storm inside remains. Like a fire that never fully goes out, that inner struggle persists. They wonder, why do I still feel disturbed? Why do I still get hurt so easily? Why do I still get angry? The truth is simple, but hard to accept. Nothing outside of you can truly hurt you, unless there is something inside you that is holding on, waiting to be disturbed. You aren't angry because of what someone said. You're angry because their words touched a belief you've been holding. You're not hurt because of what someone did. You're hurt because you expected something from them and they didn't deliver. Attachment is invisible, yet it quietly controls you. It's like a hidden string that connects your peace to something outside yourself. And when that string is tug-hugged, your peace gets pulled right along with it. At the Shaolin Temple, the monks practice detachment not because they don't care, but because they understand that freedom can't exist where attachment does. When you cling to praise, you become a slave to approval. When you cling to comfort, you become fearful of anything that challenges it. When you cling to people, you lose yourself each time they change or move on. People will come and go. They will agree with you, and then they won't. They will love you, and one day they might leave. The weather will change, the seasons will turn, the world will not pause to fulfill your expectations. If your peace depends on everything around you going your way, you will forever be at war with reality. When something upsets you, ask yourself, what am I holding on to? What belief is being challenged? What part of my identity feels threatened? More often than not, your pain doesn't come from the situation itself. It comes from the story you're telling yourself about what it means. When someone ignores you and you feel disrespected, it's not their silence that hurts. It's your belief that you must always be seen. When someone else succeeds and you feel envy, it's not their success that stings. It's your attachment to comparison, the belief that their rise somehow reflects your failure. That is why the Shaolin path is not about controlling the outside world. It's about mastering the inside. The moment you release attachment, you become untouchable. Not because nothing happens to you, but because nothing shakes you anymore. Letting go isn't about rejecting life. It's about embracing life more deeply. When you stop clinging to how things should be, you begin to see them as they truly are. You become present instead of reactive. You become grounded instead of shaken. You stop fighting with reality and you start flowing with it. If someone disrespects you and you're not attached to being respected, you won't feel disturbed. If someone disagrees with you and you're not attached to being right, you won't feel the need to argue. If someone leaves you and you're not attached to their presence, you'll still feel whole because you were never defined by their place in your life. Let go of the need to be understood. Let go of the need to be right. Let go of the need to control. Let go of the idea that life must always go your way. These needs are chains that tie you to suffering. It's not the rain that ruins your day, it's your expectation of sunshine. It's not the traffic that frustrates you, it's your attachment to speed. It's not someone's silence that wounds you, it's your craving for attention. Life becomes simpler the moment you stop demanding it to be different. You begin to move lightly, without resistance. You welcome what comes. You release what goes. You stop trying to bend the world to your will. Instead, you learn to shape your mind to meet the moment. When your peace is rooted in something eternal, not external, you walk through life with grace. You are no longer moved by opinions, noise, chaos, or failure. You observe everything and you respond only when truly necessary, not from fear, not from pride, not from anger, but from clarity. And that clarity comes when the noise of attachment fades. When you finally realize that peace was never out there, it was within you all along, waiting to be discovered, not by controlling more, but by letting go. The journey isn't about gaining more, it's about needing less. It's about stopping the search for safety in things that can be taken from you, stopping the search for validation in people who change, stopping the building of your identity on what you own. When you let go, you lose nothing. In truth, you gain everything: freedom, strength, presence, and unshakable peace. So stop waiting for the world to behave the way you want it to so you can be happy. It's not the world that disturbs you, it's your attachment to how it should be. When you release that, nothing can bother you anymore. That is real power. That is real peace. That is true freedom. Energy flows where your attention goes. And so the greatest discipline on the path to true peace is the discipline of focus. Most people don't feel exhausted because they do too much. They feel exhausted because they leak energy through distractions, reactions, and emotional noise. They let their attention be pulled in every direction without ever pausing to ask, where am I giving my focus? Is it truly worth it? You can't master your life if you don't master your focus. Your energy is not infinite. Every moment you spend caught in thoughts that don't serve you, every time you react to something that doesn't deserve your energy, you weaken your own foundation. The world is loud. It fights for your attention. Your phone, your fears, your pride, other people's dramas. But the one who seeks inner mastery walks a different path. He understands that attention is sacred, not something to give away cheaply. If you constantly focus on what makes you angry, you will become an angry person. If you always look for what is wrong, that's all you will see. If your attention is stuck in the past, you can't move forward. And if you give your attention to the opinions of others, you will never hear your own inner voice. That's why training the mind isn't optional, it's essential. Your focus is like a blade. If you don't sharpen it every day, it will become dull and scattered. At the Shaolin Temple, every movement, every breath, every moment of stillness is part of that sharpening. The monks don't train their bodies just for strength. They train to discipline the mind. Because a strong body without a disciplined mind is wild and dangerous. And a mind without a strong body is weak and unsteady. Focus is forged in silence, in repetition, in discomfort, and in patience. When you sit with your breath and notice your thoughts pulling you away and you gently return again and again, you are building inner strength. When you keep your attention on what matters, even when the world around you is full of distractions, you are becoming steady in the storm. Most people are not tired because they are doing too much. They are tired because their attention is scattered across 1,000 things that don't bring peace. When your energy is diluted, your power fades. But when your energy is focused, your presence becomes powerful. If you want to stop being disturbed by others, stop giving them your attention. Not because you are cold, but because your peace is too valuable. When someone insults you, what they want is your reaction, your energy. If you give it to them, you are feeding the fire. But if you keep your focus within, if you do not react, you stay in control. You lose nothing. In fact, you gain strength. Discipline is focused energy in motion. It is choosing to stay present when the mind wants to run. It is choosing calm when the world tries to provoke you. It is choosing the harder path, not because it's easy, but because it builds real strength. Ask yourself, where does my focus go each day? Is it building my inner world, or is it wasted trying to please others? Is it spent mastering my craft, or is it lost in comparison? Is it used to create, or is it wasted in complaint? You can't rise if your focus stays on the ground. You can't grow if your attention always stares at what you lack. You can't master yourself if your gaze is always on others. Where attention goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, life grows. If your attention is rooted in stillness, presence, and purpose, your life will begin to reflect that same power. Most things don't deserve your attention. Most problems are not real. They are just shadows made larger by your focus. When you take your focus away, the problem shrinks. When you reclaim your energy, the storm dies down. You must become the guardian of your focus. Choose carefully where it goes and who receives it. Your focus is your life. If you give it away too easily, you lose yourself. But if you direct it with purpose, you become unstoppable. Your peace, your strength, your growth, they all begin with focus. The more you train it, the less the world can disturb you because you no longer give your power away for free. Keep your eyes on your path. Keep your energy within. Let each step you take reflect your discipline and awareness. Stillness is not weakness. It is mastery. In a world that urges you to do more, speak louder, move faster, the greatest strength you can show is to remain still when others rush to react, silent when others shout, steady when everything around you shakes. Stillness isn't the absence of power, it is the purest form of it. It shows a mind that isn't controlled by the moment, but one that sees beyond the noise. It's the discipline of someone who moves only when necessary, who speaks only when words are needed, who fights only when the battle is truly worth it. People think if you don't react, you're weak. But the truth is, if you react to everything, you're not free. You're just a puppet pulled by emotion, pride, fear, and ego. The one who reacts instantly is trapped by habit, but the one who is still is free. He sees the emotion rise and he watches. He hears the insult and he stays unmoved. He feels the storm and he remains steady, because he understands that stillness isn't passive, it is awareness in its most focused form. When you train your mind to be still, you begin to see clearly. When you train your heart to be calm, you begin to feel deeply. When you train your body to be steady, you can walk through chaos untouched. Stillness isn't the end, it is the foundation from which true action arises. It is where power waits in silence for the right moment to move with clarity and purpose. That is the path of mastery.